Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for clicking on this video. My name is Terrence and I like to talk about DNA and ancestry and genealogy and family trees and all that good stuff. Today, we're going to be taking a look at this website called yourDNAPortal. Now, in my last video, I spoke about LivingDNA and I was so excited about it because I was able to see breakdowns of the specific tribes that my genome represents. Now, it looks like yourDNAPortal may do this, but even better. You be the judge, but let's take a quick look at how they broke it down. All right, so this is yourDNAPortal. I've already logged in. What you need to know about this site is that you can take your DNA, you can download your DNA data from 23andMe or Ancestry or MyHeritage, and you can upload it into their site. And within 10 minutes, they're able to have your results ready for you. Now, this is a paid site. So with some other companies like LivingDNA, there's a free tier where you're able to see some reports. But with yourDNAPortal, I had to pay for the report that I wanted to see. And I specifically chose the African report. So that costed around $30 American, and converting that to Canadian is around what, $35 or so. So I paid for it, and within 10 minutes, I was able to get my results. So let's take a look here. We have an ancient African test, we have modern African test, and we have North African. Now let's click on ancient African. And I'll scroll down here. It gives you some insight into what this test is about and how it's created. It says, yes, 2,000 fragments, and each fragment represents 0.05% of your genome. And this enables the capture and identification of even the most distant of origins. So let's take a look at this map. You can see there's a whole bunch of places that are represented here. If I scroll down, we should see some. Okay, we see some Eurasiatic here. Okay, that's pretty cool. Quite interesting. I'm gonna scroll down some more. Okay, so now we see the percentage breakdowns here. We have Niger, Volta, we have Proto-Bantu, Senegambian, Eurasiatic, Proto-Neolithic, African rainforest hunter-gatherer, Omotic, Native American, Oceanian. I'm probably butchering most of these names. South African hunter-gatherer. Okay, so as you can see, if you watch my other videos, we don't see results like this in my other videos. So let's take a look at what else they say about it. So we have the graphs here representing the different places. Then we have some historical information about these tribes, which is quite interesting. So I'm going to read through all of this later on. And I think this is it for the ancient African. It looked at the genome and it sliced it down into 2,000 fragments, and it was able to get this information from comparing that data with the data in their database. Now let's take a look at the modern African test. Now with the modern African test, this is broken down into three different tests. And just like the ancient African, where it broke down the genome into different fragments, these are smaller fragments that they're going to break these genomes down into. So instead of 2,000, this first run is breaking the genome into 200 fragments. And each fragment represents 0.5% of our genome. And this enables us to capture identifications of even the most distant origins. Okay. Wow. So there's a whole lot of genome data, a whole lot of places, a whole lot of tribes that are represented when they ran this test. So let's take a look. We have the Nankam of Ghana, the Lamande of Cameroon. We have Isan in Nigeria, Yoruba of Nigeria, Northeast Europe, Nyanja of Mozambique, Bakako of Cameroon, Bambara of Mali, Balanda, South Sudan, Gumuz of Ethiopia, the Ari blacksmiths, Ethiopia, Dogon of Mali, the Igbo of Nigeria, Kaba of Central African Republic, Congo, Lal of Chad, the Massa of Burkina Faso, Northwest Europe, Sena Mozambique, and Twa of Mozambique. This is fascinating stuff. Okay, let me take a look here. So yeah, we have information about all of these places, which is fantastic. We'll go down to the next run. We have less fragments that are being broken down so that these fragments are larger and how these match in the database. So the second run, we're breaking down into 16 fragments, and it represents 6.25% of our genome. And if you consider 6.25%, it equates to being what's inherited from a great-great-grandparent. Okay, so let's take a look at what the matches are when that happens. So we have these larger fragments that are being matched now in the database, and we have Nigeria, Ghana, Nankam Ghana, the Isan of Nigeria, the Akan of Ghana, the Nankam of Ghana, the Bakako of Cameroon, the Bangwa of Cameroon, Central Europe, the Hausa of Nigeria, the Kasam of Ghana. In Kenya, we have the Luhuya, which is interesting. I always find that one interesting because when I took my first test with MyHeritage, when I took my first test with MyHeritage, Kenya came up as one of the results. I always wondered, that's interesting, because when I took my other tests, 23andMe and Ancestry, those Kenya results just weren't there. They just don't pop up in the result list. So seeing it here is interesting. I think I saw it with LivingDNA as well. We also have the Imbo of Cameroon and the Mosi Burkina Faso. Right, and we'll go down to our next run, third run. So now our genome is being broken up into 8 fragments, and that represents 12.5% of our genome, and that perfectly matches with the DNA inherited from a great-grandparent. So now we're at like the great-grandparent level, and the DNA that we get inherited from them. So we have matching now. These are larger fragments. The Bakaku of Cameroon, the Akan of Ghana, the Umbundu of Angola, the Barong of Ghana, the Dogon of Mali, Kaba Central African Republic, and the Yoruba of Nigeria. Very interesting. Okay. And I think, is there another run that they do? I think that's it. Fourth run. Oh, I was wrong. This is a fourth run. So now it breaks it down to 4 fragments. So now these fragments are larger. And when we're thinking these fragments, it breaks down to a perfect match for a great-grandparent, because 25% of our genome comes from our great-grandparents. So let's see what it breaks down to. We have the Akan of Ghana, we have the Isan of Nigeria, and the Luo of Kenya. Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay, so we have the information here. So how does this compare with LivingDNA? Let's take a quick look here at LivingDNA. With LivingDNA, we got many of the same regions that we see in yourDNAPortal, but in yourDNAPortal, it looks like there's a lot more regions that are represented. I took a quick look at the regions that were tested with LivingDNA, and it looks like they tested 72 African regions. And that sounds like it could be a good amount, but there are so many regions, so many tribes. Africa is so ethnically diverse that 72 regions just isn't a lot. It looks like with yourDNAPortal, they have test data from a lot more regions. I was reading through the yourDNAPortal white papers, and it looks like they're getting their data from all these scholarly databases. There's a whole bunch of them, and they're able to test our DNA results against that. So LivingDNA, yourDNAPortal, both of them provide information that just wasn't there when I first started taking this journey. And I got great information from LivingDNA, and I feel like I got even greater information from yourDNAPortal. Thank you for watching. Thank you again for subscribing if you have. Thank you for liking if you have, and I wish you all the best. God bless, and I'll see you in the next video.